A new interview with Yoshi P and others provided some great information about the upcoming Final Fantasy XVI DLC, The Rising Tide. And without Audrey, this information wouldn't be accurately translated, so a huge thank you to her. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of the new things we can look forward to in The Rising Tide. And guys, for all future Final Fantasy updates, theories, and other content, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out. Clive, Jill, and Joshua will finally be able to journey together under the blue skies. This is perfect for people like me who found the purple filter a little hideous to look at. I mean, it was kinda cool at first, but it got old very quickly. However, it's worth noting the blue skies will only be available in the new area of Misidia. Returning to previous areas will still have the purple filter, which, I mean, it's understandable for story reasons. So, Misidia is most likely beyond the reach of Primogenesis, or perhaps there's some sort of mechanical or magic force field that prevents it from affecting the area. We'll find out soon enough. It's mentioned in the interview there will be mysteries in the Rising Tide, and this is most likely discovering background information about Leviathan. Things like the reason why Leviathan was lost and why Leviathan appeared on the mural. And perhaps the Rising Tide will introduce new mysteries that won't be resolved, leaving the door open for more story content in the future. Maybe one of the main mysteries is why Misidia isn't affected by the Primogenesis. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. In addition to the mysteries, we'll get to see another side of Clive that's almost gentle in a sense after going through all he did up until this point. Clive has definitely been through some shit up until this point, so it'll be nice to see another side of him. I'm wondering if we'll get to see more of the personality Clive had when he was younger. He was very caring towards Joshua and an excellent big brother. Not to say he ever stopped caring, but with the gravity of the situation the world finds itself in, we don't really see that softer, caring side of him we saw when they were young. When I hear the word gentle, I think back to when Clive was young and the world wasn't basically just completely fucked. Moments like the conversation with Jill looking up at the moon, or the conversation with Joshua at Phoenix Gate, or even during the training event at the very beginning of the game. Even though there were signs of war coming, it seems like the beginning of the game is where we saw them genuinely smile. It was basically the calm before the storm, a peaceful time compared to what they experienced once the story unfolded. Maybe the Rising Tide will kind of let them escape reality for a moment. Perhaps they'll be reminded of peaceful times seeing the blue sky again. Not to say this will be a full-blown vacation, but it'd be nice to see them relive a simpler time and loosen up a little like they were when they were young. And I have to say, it'd be nice to see a goofy side of Clive too. Sorta like the scene when he acted out the play for his uncle, which is by far my favorite scene in the entire game. The area where they'll venture forth is very fantasy themed, which is to be expected, but perhaps we'll see more variety of vegetation and color amongst other things, since Misidia is a separate location, and in my opinion, based off the few snippets we've seen, it already looks brighter and more colorful than what we saw in the main game. The difficulty will be on par, if not harder than Omega, and apparently Yoshi P says he had trouble with it. They also packed a ton of action battle elements into the icon fight, as well as the final boss fight. Now there's some confusion regarding the final boss. It's unclear if we fight Leviathan and then later fight the final boss, or if Leviathan is the final boss. But I personally think the better way to do it would be to have the icon battle with Leviathan, obtain the power, and then use your new skills for the final boss. But honestly, either way, this DLC is going to be sick. So, once Clive gains Leviathan's power and controls every icon, I feel like this kind of demands an alternate ending. The director of Final Fantasy XVI DLC already hinted that they have even more in store for us to look forward to. And I'm sure we're all thinking the same exact thing. If you finish the main game, then you'll know obtaining Leviathan will make Clive strong enough to contain Ultima's power. And hopefully this means we'll get the ending we deserve. I'm almost certain we'll see a new ending at some point, whether it's included with the Rising Tide or added later on. Although it's been confirmed the main team for Final Fantasy XVI has disbanded and no sequel is planned at this time, Yoshi P recently said if the Final Fantasy XVI PC version does well, depending on the cost, they might consider making Sid and Jill playable as a bonus. This is huge, and Audrey further clarifies that this could be translated as Sid, Jill, etc., which I personally hope is the case because I really want to play as Joshua as well. Should they make all these characters playable, there's so much they can do. They could do Sid's entire journey in Waloed, from saving Benedicta to working for Barnabas. I'd love to see Joshua's journey with Yote as well. And for Jill, depending on if there is an alternate ending or not, it could take place after the events of the game where she searches for Clive. There's still so much content and story to build on in this world, so I'm really hoping the game does well on PC. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and please consider subscribing. What are you hoping to see for the future of Final Fantasy XVI? What do you think will happen when Clive obtains Leviathan? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.